Welcome to Thoughts Off the Stem. I'm Justin Barone, and today we were smoking a little bit of, excuse me, that bowl was a mix of Skywalker Kush and headband. Got our little joint. Ba-doop-ba-doop. Glass tips, baby. I gotta say, I just got the headband stuff. It's a sativa. It's a hybrid. It's 18%. The Skywalker Kush was like 17.8%. It is, shit, what is it? It's an indica. Oh man, that bowl hit me good. I'm gonna have some of my slushy. And maybe a little water. Oh. So I was driving tonight with my daughter, and we were going out to get slushies. And I thought, what should I talk about this week? There's been a few things on my mind, but some of it I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it because it's very opinionated. And this hasn't been a very opinionated channel. I mean, other than stupid shit like Batman and whatever. But I thought maybe this time I feel like we should have a talk about weed or alcohol. Now, my preference, and I'm assuming, and I know what that means, never assume because it makes an ass out of me and you, boop-doo-ba-doo, I get it. But, I prefer weed. And I'm pretty sure that anybody that's here or watching the show probably prefers a little doobage versus a little drinkage. Now, I know I used to prefer drinking, but that was really before, I knew anything about weed. I mean, when I was a kid, I've said this a ton of times, so I'll make it quick, but I played basketball all of the time. I was always into sports. I was always doing something. Basketball, football, rugby, whatever. It didn't matter. And so I had a misconception about weed for a very long time. Until I was about... Well, I didn't try weed until I was, I think, 17 or 18. But the thing in high school was always getting drunk, right? You gotta get some booze. Gotta find somebody to get you some booze. I went to a private school, and there were a couple dudes there. I'm sure everybody had their guy that... looked like he was 40, but he was really 15. We had a couple guys like that. We had one guy, he could grow like a full fucking ZZ Top beard at 15. So he would go in and buy us booze. There's another guy, he could grow a bit of a beard, but not a lot. His facial hair was nice and stubbly, right? So but here's the thing, he was bald, like me bald, okay? He had the U going and the whole deal, all right? At 15. And on top of that, his dad, it was like it was meant to be. His dad gave him a big... No 15-year-old would want this car, other than it being a Jaguar. But he got a Jaguar that was beige exterior and beige interior. Now, if you're 40... 50 or a car guy, cool. If you're 15 trying to impress people, no. But he slid right into that. Yeah, he slid right into the whole old man look. And I shit you not, when he was 15, this guy looked like he was probably about 35, 40 years old. Anyway, he looks like I do now. I don't know if I look 40, but I like to think I don't. But I mean, let's be honest, the fucking old balls over here. So anyway, he looked that way at 15, 16. So all he had to do... It was private school, so a lot of these kids dressed up in nicer stuff, like suits and whatever on the weekends too, or maybe not suits, but khakis and dressed up, preppy, very preppy. So all he had to do was don his preppy attire and hop in his old man car, hop down to the beer store, and it looked like he just finished a round of golf. Or just came from a business meeting, did one or the other. And so he'd buy us beer. And that was that was always the shit. And then when I was 17, 18, I started smoking weed. And then I got more and more into weed because, well, one, it was easier. Two, there's no fucking hangover. You giggle all of the time. There's no bad, there's no oh shit, I overdid it, now fuck. There's oh shit, I overdid it, nap time. and then okay, I could do it again in an hour or maybe two, whatever the deal is, But with alcohol, no, you're pretty well fucked. The whole time you're fucked. You can't control what the fuck you're doing. You're stumbling into shit. I mean, I've been high enough to stumble into shit too and fall all over everything. But it's just different when you're drunk, right? So I always wonder why people, I've tried both, obviously. Let's light this joint. Cheers. This is the Star Walker Kush joint, baby. Cheers to the joints. Light your joints. Smoke your bowls. Let's do this. Let's set shit up. So, yeah, high school's a big, okay, let's get fucking wasted kind of, can't have booze, let's have booze kind of situation, right? You get heavy into that, and then, whatever, you have a bad day. I only ever, really had a couple hangovers in high school. It was never anything really bad. But I learned with a Peruvian family how to drink. So sometimes they would have parties at their place. And what they would do is they would empty the fridge of all the food. And they would just stock it with booze. And everybody in the grade was invited to come. I think we were in grade 10 or 11 when this party happened. But they taught us how to drink. They taught us that you drink you drink a beer or a couple drinks over the course of an hour, and then you have a couple glass of water for an hour, and then you drink again, then whatever. But if you overdo it, because sometimes you play drinking games, right? So we played the fucking question game all the time, where you had to keep going around the table, just asking question after question after question. You could never answer the question. And as soon as you answer the question, you lost, you have to take the drink. So there were several times where after a few drinks in that, you end up having to drink. You end up being fucked and not being able to do shit. So the mom would come and take you aside and give you water and make you watch the game. So she would teach us how to drink. And then you could come back and drink a little more. And the next day you never felt that bad. Nobody really threw up too hard. I mean, a couple people did when they were first learning. I did a couple times. But not at their place. Actually, that's not true. That's totally a lie. I never threw up at their place. I never threw up drinking with them. I woke up with a hangover maybe twice. And I didn't start getting hangovers until I went to university because I forgot all the rules. When I went to university, it was just drinks. Yep, hit me up. I take everything. Man, I was drinking out of fucking pitchers. It didn't matter. I had a great fucking time at university. Oh shit, yeah. I went to university twice. I went once for 1 year, fucked off, and then I went again. But that first, yeah. So when I got out of high school, I really started drinking. But that's when I also started smoking weed. And I was combining the two. And combining the two for me doesn't work out real well. Because, okay, so if I drink and then I smoke, I'm generally okay. If I smoke, it's harder for me to drink. My body just doesn't want to drink. I'll force it, but it's an uncomfortable drink. It's not a fun one. The drinking first and then smoking at some point after you've had a few drinks is perfect. But yeah, early on combining the two was bad news because it always fucked me up way too fast. We always ended up doing shots, going back to the room, smoking a joint, and the next thing I know, I get spinnies and barf everywhere. Now, again, that only happened a few times, but it happened more often in university than it did in high school. And that's when I started to wean away from drinking. I drank that whole first year that I went to university the first time. But the second time I went to university, I split it up. So I wouldn't smoke until after the bar ever. And then I couldn't smoke if I was at the bar because generally at the bar I'd have a few shots. And if I had shots and weed in me, spinny time. Every time, spinny time. So So I stepped away from it. And then I started to realize, like, weed... Hey, man, I don't know what your opinion is. I assume that if you're watching this, your opinion is probably similar to mine, but maybe it's not. I don't know. If it's not, tell me. If it is, tell me. Put it in the comments. For the YouTube guys, for the people that are listening, email me. thoughtsoffthestemppodcast@gmail.com. But yeah, so I started weaning away from drinking. And I think from the age of like 23, 24 to the age of like 32, I didn't really drink. I'd have a beer here and there, but like I didn't drink. If I wanted to get fucked up or I wanted to like have a good night out or whatever, I'd just smoke weed. I'd smoke a joint before we went to a bar. I'd hang out at the bar, or the club, whatever, and then drink water, and then smoke periodically throughout the night. Yeah. And then I just weaned off towards weed, and I more stick to weed now. Like there's times, like obviously I've drank weed. Don't get me wrong. Okay? I like my scotch. Scotch is good. I love tequila. But, like, it's got its place, where I feel like weed has its place every day. Because it's a weed podcast, so it has to. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, though, I don't see a problem with smoking weed every day. Because I don't know about you, but I don't smoke it like cigarettes. Like, I'm not sitting there smoking like 3 or 4 joints a day. I generally smoke like 2 joints a day, maybe a few hoots off the bong here and there. Just enough to keep high, and then again, I've said it before, but like if I have important shit to do, I don't smoke weed until after the important shit's done. Yeah. And then, but that's the problem with drinking. Like, I don't get how alcoholics can be alcoholics because you can't I guess you can. You could drive. You could drive wherever you want to go. Good job. But, like, you're fucking up a lot of shit if you fuck up. Right? Like, weed, I don't know about you. For me, with weed, I'd much rather be, like, go for a walk. I don't really want to drive when I'm high. There's no, like, I love cars. And I love driving. And I love going fucking fast. But I also recognize what that kind of power means and what it means to be responsible with that kind of power. And you can't be responsible 100% under the influence of anything. But I will say this. You can't drink alcohol, get shit-faced, and then in say 4 hours, go driving. You're still fucked. Okay? But you can get fucking shit-faced on weed. Put it in the equivalent. So, like, if you're, you black out on booze, and then, let's say you black out on weed. When you wake up from that weed blackout, you're not nearly in the same affected state that you are under the influence of alcohol. At least I'm not. I shouldn't say nobody is, because, obviously people are different. But, it's true, man. For me, it's not a thing. It doesn't matter. I can have a weed nap and be okay, because it wears off. The effects of it wear off. Whereas the alcohol in your system, the effects of the alcohol are directly dependent on how much of it you have in your system. So say system more. Okay, system. So, you can't get it out. It's just got to sort of bleed its way out in whatever ways it does. Whereas weed just kind of wears off. So I'm not advocating for driving or anything like that. I'm just saying that if you have the choice between smoking weed and drinking, yeah, a nice cold beer is awesome. But let's be honest, okay, that's another thing too. It takes you way more booze to get fucked up than it does a joint. You can smoke one joint and be high for 2-3 hours, depending on what you have, okay? To be the same amount of buzzed, you have to continue and maintain drinking that whole time. You have to essentially go beer shot. You can't get a buzz off, I can't get a buzz off one beer an hour. I'll eventually get a buzz at some point, maybe, I don't know. But I need to have 2 beers in an hour. Let's say 2 beers an hour for 3 hours would probably get me as fucked up as one joint does. So if I'm just going for like the party effect, the weed is way better, way faster acting. Plus you don't you don't have beer burps. I mean, it is fun to burp, but I'm saying like you're not dealing with any of that shit. Drink water, stay hydrated, fucking listen to the music. Like when you're drunk, music escapes you. You like it, you think that you're like grooving with it, but the people, you think you're doing this. The people that are watching you when you're hammered are watching this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You got no control over your limbs. Like, dude, get out of here. Okay? So, I am all around weed. Just go weed. That's what I'm saying. Go weed, man. Have the occasional beer, but like one beer's not gonna fuck you up. You know, one joint can, but just hang out for a bit. You know, have one joint. Let's say you have a joint at 4 o'clock, okay? You're hanging out, you go to see your buddy. He's working on his car. So let's take this scenario. Let's take this scenario. Okay, so like back in the day, right? Your buddy's working on his car. You go over and you have a couple beers with them. And like next thing you know, it's like 3 hours later. And you got a little bit of a buzz on. You're like, all right, I'm going to drive home. Boom, see you later, right? Okay. That's because for that 3 hours, you've been pounding back fucking 6-packs with your buddy, right? But if you smoke a joint, you're not pounding back a 6-pack. You get there, maybe your buddy stops working on the car for like 25 minutes, half an hour. You sit down, you smoke a joint, talk some shit. He goes back to working on the car. You're helping him out, all baked as fucking. What? You want the, huh? Who's, I don't know what a wrench is. The Phillips head? Is that the, which one's that one? I don't know. They're all shiny. What handle? That one? Okay. You know, like, that's your first 25 minutes. Is trying to figure out what the fuck you're talking about. Right? And then your next hour is just sort of like listening to tunes and sliding back and forth in conversation and giggling and just sort of like enjoying your surroundings. Maybe feeling like you're a little muffled, like you're sitting in like, I always get, if I get really high, I always get like head in a fish, I call it head in the fishbowl syndrome. Because it feels like your head's in a fishbowl and people are talking, it just sounds like that all around you. You can't really make out what people are saying because you're so high and your equilibrium's off. But that's like the first hour. You know, all that stuff happens within the first hour. And then that second hour, so it's 5 o'clock now. That second hour, you're starting to like fade a bit. You know, maybe not fade, but you're sitting in the groove. You're in the pocket. So you're how do you explain it to somebody that's like not been high before? So once you get past that initial overtake of high, right? And you settle into it. Then you get the calm, and sometimes there's a period where you stop realizing that you're high. And then you have to remind yourself that you're high because you're high. That's sitting in the pocket of the high, okay? Whereas, if you're drunk 3 hours into this situation, because you're still drinking, you're potentially, depending on how you're going at it, you're going, you could be there. You could be Drew Lee McGee. You can't control yourself. You can't say shit, okay? Even if you're going to green out off weed because you've been smoking for, you know, you smoked too much of it or whatever. You only smoked at 4 o'clock one time. You didn't smoke 6 times. You kept drinking 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, however many times. But when you were smoking, you smoked one joint, smoked it, you know, got faded for a couple hours, had a good time, enjoyed yourself, maybe had a big shit, ate some food, had a few laughs, sobered up, but your sober up was like, oh, okay, everything's cool now. So you slide right back into the day. If you have too much stuff, you maybe have like an hour or two pass out. I'm not saying weed's something that you necessarily want to do on a daily basis when you have, like in the day, when you're working and things like that. I'm saying when you first get into weed, there's a very different over the hump than there is with booze. When you go over the hump too many times with booze before you learn like, okay, this is how I have to drink. All right? When you do that with weed, it takes a long time for that to happen. 2, it only takes you like 1 or 2 shots for that to be like, okay, I know how it goes. I know what it's going to do to me. So, like, in my opinion, there's no fucking comparison to this, to weed or booze. Like, if I had to have a choice, if they were going to outlaw booze tomorrow, I'm cool with that. I know alcoholics will lose their fucking mind. And I like a good beer. I like a good scotch. I like a good tequila. I like rum. Okay, I'm saying I like all this stuff. But at the same time, I recognize if there's one thing that can give you everything you need in a 15-minute window, why would you not take that? As opposed to having to invest hours to change your reality in a way that lets you feel loose. You know what I'm saying? Like, and booze doesn't even always do that, man. Sometimes booze winds you the fuck up. Like, I had a roommate, every time he drank, that motherfucker was like, he was on a warpath. And he was little. Like, not, I mean, he was like 5'6", and he was like 120 pounds, okay? This guy was not, I threw him into a fridge once. Well, he threw me into a fridge once, because point being, is that booze made him crazy, okay? But we smoke a joint. That motherfucker passed out on the couch. And all we'd done is play video games and like told jokes the whole day. You know, that's the difference. There you go. Look at that. That's the fucking difference right there. Is one gets you all riled up and ready to hate yourself in the world if you abuse it. Whereas the other, sure, you can abuse it. But even in its abuse, there is still some kind of benefit that you're reaping from it. And I'm not saying that, like, any addiction is anything to, like, fuck with. But if you had to have the choice, right, the lesser of two evils, what would you pick? I don't know. I'd go with weed, man. That's my thought. That's my thought, yep. I'd go with weed every time. If you had a really expensive scotch and a joint, don't get me wrong, I really want to try that scotch. But I'd take the joint. Because I'd much rather have the head high than the burn to taste what I want to taste. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of weed, man. I'm getting all weed funky. Yeah. Now, either way, acquiring either of them back in the day, before all this legalization and stuff like that, you had to be pretty fucking crafty to find either of them. Like I said, we had one guy that we dressed up like fucking ZZ Top to get us some booze from time to time. I was lucky enough that my parents, when they went to the liquor store, they'd buy me booze and be like, here you go. They limited me to what I could have. And sometimes, as a joke, they'd buy me like really shitty local beer. Dude, one time, my buddy and I, and when I'm going to have him on the podcast, we've talked about it. But one time, my buddy and I, my dad, we told my parents, we're going to a friend's house. This is in high school. We're going to a friend's house. We just both only like tried weed a couple times. So we tell my parents, we're going to our buddy's house. There's going to be a party there. My parents are like, okay, do you guys need booze? We're like, yeah. So they go to the liquor store. They come back with these fucking, oh my God. They came back in wine bottles, but it was beer. It was disgusting. It was the grossest shit I've ever had in my life. Like, ugh. And I'm not overly particular at this point because I was like 16. So I was like, let me do this, you know? Anyway, so we get down to the party and we end up, one of my buddies is like, let's smoke a joint. And I'm like, cool. So there's like 6 of us smoking a joint. They're like, they've been smoking for a couple years. This is like maybe the second or third time, probably the third time that I'd actually smoked weed. And, yeah, it was way more fun, man. And I couldn't drink that piss. We poured it all down the drain, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think we drank the beer. Or maybe we did. Maybe we powered it back. I don't know. But when we got home, we were high as fuck. We hadn't drank a drop, or we weren't drunk, but we were high as shit. And my parents were like, so how'd you like the beer? And we were like, good. They were like, oh yeah, you guys are messed, huh? We were like, yeah, we're messed. We walked downstairs because that's where we hung out when we had, like, when we, went partying and stuff, me and my buddy. And then, fuck, it was good, man. It was hilarious. But after, like, those were the times where I learned that, like, okay, the better deal is weed. Because no matter what, you're guaranteed a good fucking time. Because, let's be honest, the first couple times that you smoke weed, you're not alone. You're not going to normally when you green out, you're overdoing it. You're trying to fucking show off and be all like, I could smoke more weed than you. You're trying to be that guy, okay? Or you're just, like, not aware of how weed smoking works. Or you're not a smoker. Like, some people are just goody like that. They're not down. So when they learn, they get a little too high. But for the most part, you smoke in a circle, and yeah, you can get a little too high, but you got people around, Normally, there are people that will take care of you and help you out. But you don't get too fucked up to the point where, like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you pass out on a couch. Hopefully a couch. I've passed out under a tree before and beside a path. That was fun. But yeah, like, I don't know. I have to say, out of all the booze experiences and all the weed experiences that I've had up to the almost age of 40, I'm a couple months away from this. I have had way less weed bad experiences than I have with booze. I've had way more booze bad experiences myself. Other people on booze are fucking assholes, man. Like, sometimes, if you can handle your booze, great. But the people that can't handle their booze, those people are fucking dicks. They do not know what the fuck they are doing. I do not like being around. Oh, goddamn. You gotta know. You gotta know when to say no. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I would pick weed any day of the week. I think I made that clear by now. So that's my thought off the stem for this week. What would you pick? Would you pick weed or booze? Let me know. Email me. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. Comment on some of that stuff. Let me know what you think. Follow me on Twitter. Let's talk back and forth. Have a dialogue. Set these sessions up right eventually. We're working. We're just beginning here. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed the sesh. Hope you had a good week. I hope you have a good weekend. Like I said before, I hope you just generally have a great time. And don't forget to check out our merch shop and all the other awesomeness. Like, what do we got? So in the link tree, I will put in the description. We've got Tots merch. Check that out. It's, like I said, better prices, faster delivery, better situation all around. And we've got some glass accessories from the guys at I Sell Glass. Follow them on Instagram. That's where I got my dab set. That was in the last episode. And what else we got in there? The YouTube. Well, if you're on YouTube, the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, check out the YouTube link, or check out the audio link for past episodes, ones you haven't listened to yet, because we just started doing these video ones. And if you're listening to this, check out YouTube. Subscribe. Join along. Follow along. If you're watching this, subscribe. Hit the like button. Follow along. Let other people know. This is just a fun, good old time. Fuck, this weed is good. Like I said, I hope you had a good one. I hope you enjoyed the sesh. I hope you come back next Friday and join me, Justin Barone, with Thoughts Off the Stem on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, wherever you get a podcast, and YouTube. So until next time, keep your lids low, baby.